Hey, thank you so much for watching Queer Gossip. I am your host, as always, your one and only host. But today I wanted to talk to y'all about is being gay an option? We're going to talk about some actual news that's been going on as well, but I did want to start off with just talking about our main topic. So, a little bit about me and my history. For most of my life, I have been a gay man or gay kid, teen, whatever. Um, I believe I was in fifth grade, I think, when I had my first crush. So, but before then, it was, and even after then, I still liked women, or not women, girls, teenage girls, da 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 da. Of course, I was the same age as those girls and as the dude. So, you have to say that because some people be like, you're gay, and so that means you're just something petty, like, no. I don't know why people always think that crazy crap, but that's gonna be later on in the discussion. So, for me, I think that excuse me. For me, I believe that it is a choice, but that's purely based off of my life experiences. Um, you may feel differently. If you do feel differently, let me know why you think that in the comment section. If you were born gay and what's your story? Like, did you just like always know you were gay and just always felt that way, or you maybe didn't know you were gay because you maybe didn't know the word, but you know what I mean. So, but anyway, for me, I had my first crush in about fifth grade. After that, I mean, like I said, I kind of, I still had girlfriends. I still hit on people. I really didn't concretely decide that that was the lifestyle, the life choice that I was going to make until I was probably, I want to say in high school. Actually, like maybe like in eighth grade, kind of going out of high school. Because for me, I did, like, I knew that a chick in my eighth grade class, not in my class, but maybe she was also in eighth grade, but she liked me, and I thought she was nice, but I kind of was more, again, like I said, leaning towards the other way. So I feel like for me, it's always kind of been a choice of, even to this day, like I still find women attractive. Um, when I was a kid, when I was old enough, when you hit puberty, used to watch, like, of course, you sneak and watch your little adult entertainment type of shit show, and unless you know some gay person that has that type of stuff, you was more than likely just watching straight stuff, right? If you grew up watching straight entertainment, adult entertainment, let me know in the comment section as well, because I want to know, are especially if you feel like you were born gay, then did you not watch any adult films? And if you did watch adult films, did you watch the straight ones, or did you just wait until you could get you know, the the gay stuff? You know what I'm saying? But I do feel that, like I said, it was a choice, and just looking up. I'm looking up some art real quick, getting that stuff prepped for me real quick. So don't mind me with the little clicky clicker I just did. But I do feel like it was a choice for me. Um, I did at about, I want to say about 27, I ended up transitioning. So I transitioned to a trans woman, and I was a trans woman identifying, living and identifying as a trans woman for 4 years. So I detransitioned 4 years ago. So I was trans for 4 years, living the complete life every day, the whole shebang. Had a job, all of that, and never had any of the surgeries. I was just on the hormones and stuff like that. And then, that was 4 years ago from today. So if you want to know more about that, then, let me know in the comment section. But through all of that, I've always been gay, but I've never not been attracted to certain types of women, you know? But I don't know. Life is just life is complicated. Okay, so it's this subject is just so, it's so subjective. It's like, if you were born, if you feel like you were born gay, do you feel like that because you just don't remember if something happened, or did something happen? Did nothing ever happen to you? In my situation, I when I was real young, like 5 and under, I did have a couple of uh I don't I don't even know the word for it, but it was like I'll say playing house, you know what I'm saying, with play house, but the people I was playing house with was um, both boy kids and girl kids. So, and they were older than me, and it was kind of a odd situation. Um, but yeah, I don't think that necessarily had anything to do with how I grew up and what my decisions were, because it was both. Like some people say, oh well, if you were touched or you played house with dudes, or the dudes your age or older, and they were SAing maybe in a situation, maybe you were in a situation where you were getting SA'd by the same sex or whatever, same gender, then that made them that way, or made them lean more towards that way for maybe like some traumatic reason. And that could be the case for some people, but that's just not is not the case for me, and I'm sure that's not the case for a lot of people. But I would still like to know what you think about that. So let me know in the comment section. Um, so yeah, before I get off here, I just wanted to go through a couple of things that I have seen on the news. These are kind of old, but I still kind of wanted to just go through them briefly. There were a couple of trans women that were unalived, and a couple of gay men, some couples that were unalived as well. The most recent one that I heard about was one. It was a YouTuber who did like mukbangs. So you were just eating a lot of food, or you just talking and eating. I never watched the man. His name was Lips. That's what he went by. Don't know what his actual name is, but I'm sure if you look up Lips and mukbangs, you might be able to see some of the videos that they had posted, um, where they were eating soul food and stuff like that. I was trying to look for articles about him, but there are none. Um, I think that he wanted to keep it private, and it kind of was an open and shut case because the husband, he was married, um, took his life, and so I guess they didn't have a reason to really investigate it that deeply, even though I think that they still should have did an article about it. But either way, I am going to just briefly go through like just a couple of articles. So we have one in from NBC. There was a couple that were unalived in Buffalo, New York. Um, the couple's name was Mickey Harmon, who was 40, and Jordan Saleto, who was 37. This was a double unaliving that happened in Buffalo, New York. They said that it wasn't a hate crime. The person who did the unaliving was arrested on Friday. Now, be aware that this article was posted on March 7th to 2025, so it's like a month plus ago. So when they're saying Friday, they're talking about early March, basically. So they said that they arrested Brian Monge Shilana, who was 34. Sorry if I messed up their name. They were charged with first degree murder, first degree unaliving, and 2 counts of secondary unaliving, according to the DA's office. He was being held without parole. Okay, so that happened in March. Rest in peace to those gentlemen. And hopefully, I'm sure they'll get justice, honestly, because they already caught him, they already charged him, they're not letting him out. So there isn't really much going on there. I am looking at a case right now that took place in South Africa in Cape Town. Just running through it because they said this was about LGBT, but I don't know. Police has established motive for killing, but political party and LGBT organization said that he was a target of Cape Town Muslim. They're saying that a Muslim man in Cape Town, South Africa, was targeted. Um, let's see. Welcome. Right, of course. So, a security. Let me just read this. It says here in Cape Town, South Africa, a man regarded as the first openly LGBT Muslim was fatally shot while sitting in his car in South Africa in what many are calling an assassination because of his teachings. I actually heard of this. I heard this. I heard that there was there was a Muslim man in South Africa that was teaching this, and actually I heard about this months ago. Before this even happened, so this is actually new to me. I try to keep up with this type of stuff, but I haven't been lately, really. But they say that police have not established a motive for the killing, but the political party and the LGBT plus organization say Hickens was targeted because he started a mosque in Cape Town for gay Muslims and called them members of the LGBT community to welcome were welcomed into the Islam religion, and homosexuality is forbidden in the Islamic religion. So apparently they caught the man, but who's to say if that actually is going to be any real justice? Because it kind of sounds like they trying to oh, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they don't have hate crimes there as far as with the LGBT community, but in South Africa, really not in Africa, period. Because if you know anything about Africa, in some places you will literally get arrested for life if you are a gay person. So, I mean, well, let's be very specific. If you're a gay man, because if you are a gay woman, then it ain't the same. They definitely don't. Whoa, did this just happen? This says 14 hours ago. Wow, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, my hand got into the way. Okay, it says that, now this is new, so I literally, this is 14 hours ago. And the first time I looked this up, because I made a video prior, so this is my second attempt at doing this video. But the first time I did the video, this wasn't there, so, and it says this is 14 hours ago. But, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just read a little bit of this. I really don't like the fact that they always have these articles, like they want you to basically always pay, excuse me, to read the articles. So, but I'll read a little bit. It says the East St. Louis mother of a woman allegedly murdered by her boyfriend last week in the St. Louis suburb of Afton, Missouri, is raising money for funeral expenses with a GoFundMe campaign. Friends and family of the late Kisley, who was 25, formerly of East St. Louis, also have a flooded social media with tributes and condolences, describing her as happy and beautiful, and a beautiful trans woman who was comfortable in her own skin and willing to help others in need. This is a black trans woman. This article is by, what is this? I think this was Advocate. This is Advocate, ain't it? No, this is Bellevier News Democrat. Even though when I first saw it, it said, oh no, it didn't. It's Bellevier News Democrat. So if you just look up trans woman killed, it'll be the first thing that popped up. If you want to donate, they do have a GoFundMe for Kinsley. So I would definitely, if you heard about that and if you do want to send some money, I would say definitely do that. There was also another unaliving case, but this happened in Colombia. They said that the suspect was arrested in brutal unaliving of trans woman who was thrown in a creek in Colombia. Okay, it says Colombia. Uh, excuse me. That's not me farting. That's my chair. Okay, let me get back serious. Colombian police arrested a suspect in brutal unaliving of trans woman who was thrown into creek with broken limbs in a hate crime that sparked angry protests in the South American country. Sarah Millery, who was 32, died in hospital after she was pulled out of a creek by firefighters, um, but not before bystanders filmed a video of her drowning and circulated it online. It says here the attack, which happened in Belo, near the western city of Medellin, has caused an outpouring of shock and anger and fueled fear in the trans community. Okay, so let's see. It says here that police said Wednesday it had arrested the first suspect, a member of a gang who now is facing charges of torture and aggravated unaliving, and is at risk of serving 70 years in prison. Okay, so I hope she rests in heaven as well. I think that's very horrific to be unalived, and then you just see people recording you drowning. Like that's the world we live in now is just something else for real. Like everybody wants to be famous and everything else. Like I'm doing this channel for me. I'm not doing this to be famous. I'm not expecting a bunch of people to watch this. I already know how what it's given when it comes to people who are LGBT and talk about LGBT topics. So, you know, so that's why if you want to like and you want to subscribe, that's great. If you don't, then that's great. I feel like we all should try to do something to contribute to the world, and this is me trying to contribute. So, this is my contribution. I'm just a poor, I almost said, I'm just a poor black man, gay black man, black and gay in America, foundationally so, descendants of slaves, struggling in the world, okay? So, this is my contribution, like it or not, right? But anyway, the last story that I'm going to be talking about is a trans woman who lives in Thailand who is also brutally unalived, and it's exposing, and they say it's exposing the dark side of tourism in Thailand. It says here the unaliving of a Thailand trans woman allegedly murdered and mutilated by a Chinese tourist cast a harsh spotlight on the safety of adult workers in the screening of visitors to Thailand. The body of Warnan Panocha, who was 25, was discovered early on Saturday in a rented room in Thailand, or near Thailand, at a popular resort. Her heart, silicone implants, and her body parts had been removed by the suspect, whom police identified as a 42-year-old Chinese man by by the name of Welder Fu Tong Young. Yes, and it said that it's not showing the other part of it, but wait, did you just go? But it also said that I don't know where this is, but they said that he was picked up in Bangkok when he was on the airport. Okay, there it is. Yeah, Fu was arrested at Bangkok airport while attempting to flee the country. His face bore deep scars, apparently inflicted during the violent struggle. Just insane. So, I want to say my deepest condolences to those trans women who have lost their lives. you know, it's hard trying to survive in this world. And, you know, we have to survive the best way that we can as people of the LGBT community. It's not, we don't, you know, depending on who you are, who you know, if you got a degree, don't got a degree, and all those other things. And even sometimes if you do, it's just a struggle, you know, to survive in this world. And especially, like I said, when you're LGBT, and if on top of being LGBT, if you're a person of color and you're living in a predominantly uncolored country, you're just gonna have problems and struggles. And so I've seen it so much in my life, you know, and I've had so many struggles. You know, I've been homeless many times. I've been without a job many times, and it's always a struggle. Especially when I was younger, because I was more feminine. Like, I was very, very feminine once I got out of my parents' house. You know, I was like, I'm doing me, balls to the wall. You know, and I was balls to the wall. But then I had to conform in order to even get my first job, even though it wasn't even a good paying job. But I had to conform a lot just to get that. Even in school, when I dropped out of school and then I went to an alternative school, like, I would get these looks like, you know, by the straight dudes, and they're just like, you know, because I had one of them principals who was like military bodybuilder. He was just the funniest guy because he was a, you know, he was a really buff man, black man, and he was very about that military life type of thing. And so he's like, "All the men stand up," and I would just be sitting there with my mohawk, and I would just be like, you know, I'm standing up too. Fuck me. So, you know, if y'all want to know more about that, I'm gonna talk about that in later videos, I'm sure. But a little nitpicks here and there. I don't want to overdo the video because I'm already getting into a long time here, so I don't want to keep y'all too much longer. Like I said, I want those trans women to rest in heaven. I want those gay men also to rest in heaven. There was also a case before I don't know why I didn't see it, but I did want to talk about it. There was a case where another gay couple, an elderly couple, had got unalived by an illegal immigrant who was 25. Um, he did get caught. The names are escaping me right now, and I didn't see it when I was just looking it up. So, like I said, this video is running pretty long, so I might add it in the next video. But yeah, y'all just be careful out here. You know, I know if you a Caucasian gay man and you probably looking at, you know, these Hispanics like, okay, I'm gonna give you some da 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 for da da da, but then they da da da, you know what I'm saying? So y'all need to be careful. Okay, be smart, be careful. You are not invincible. Okay, um, this is not the 1960s, early 1900s. That's those times over. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what y'all think about the main topic of this video, which was, um, do you feel like gay people are born gay, or do you feel like that is a decision that we make? For me, like I've already said, it's a decision that we make regardless of our desires and feelings or whatever. We still choose to live the way that we want to live instead of conforming. So anyway, let me know what you think about that, and anything else I talked about, really. But I will catch y'all. Oh, and make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. This is my second video. I see that I had a couple people watch, no comments, none of that. But like I said, I'm doing this for me so I could have some type of contribution. So hopefully people eventually start chiming in. But I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Peace and love.